reader.
All right. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Welcome, everyone. We are live, and our topic today, we're talking about who owns the Panther, the legacy, the lineage, and the battle over revolutionary memory. This is a big one, Doc. We got really, at least I would say 3 or 4 different Black Panther groups that are operating out here.
Yeah, I mean, you have what is the equivalent, and this isn't new, the equivalent of that, was it WWE, Battle Royale, everybody battling, trying to reach the belt or something. Yeah. But this isn't new.
And so with this, one thing that I think that a lot of regular people that's just thinking they're knowing about revolution, because I didn't even know, throughout us having these programs on the Black Panthers, it really opened my eyes, because I thought they were one thing, and then after having the programs with you, I see them totally different.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of our people misunderstand who the Black Panthers really were, what they were really about, and definitely their way of looking at the world. I think a lot of our people are confused because they see the black beret, they see the dressing in the black leather, they see the guns. They think that they were really, black first.
Them brothers look good. Good. I mean, most people fail to realize that even the Panther uniform is it flows from one of the Panther leaders. I want to say it was Bobby Seale, who had seen the film, and there were some French revolutionaries that were in the film, and he thought that their dress was sharp, and that's where you get that beret, leather jacket, and that powder blue shirt. Yeah.
Wow. And then when we're looking at, so let me ask you this first, Doc. What is the DNA? What makes up the DNA of a group?
Oh, wow. I would argue that it's equal parts the ideology of founders, and we definitely see that with Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. And Eldridge Cleaver. We have to throw Cleaver in there as well as one of the major players of the Black Panther Party. But you also have to factor in what Marxists would refer to as dialectical materialism, the idea of looking at what your surroundings are and creating programs and things to go ahead and address those needs. So I think that it's environmental, but it's also ideological. The problem with the Panthers, and the reason that the Panthers have been such a lightning rod during their existence, and really the reason that we still mouth the words Black Panther Party to this day. You don't hear people talking about SNCC. You don't hear people talking about us. You don't hear anybody, even with Dr. King's largeness, you don't hear people referring to SCLC. It's the Panthers. The thing that makes the Panthers so memorable are the iconic images. Matter of fact, I have on my shirt, I just happened to grab this shirt of Free Huey. Even though Huey, this was truthfully an image that Huey actually hated, because in many ways it's a call to cultural nationalism. However, the guns, the rhetoric that you would get, not from Huey, because Huey's not the voice of the Panthers, despite what people want to say. It's Eldridge, it's Bobby, it's Fred Hampton. It's those individuals who are in every way forging the language of the Panthers. And can't forget Bobby Rush as well. So you have all of these factors coming in that would make up what I think what we're referring to as the DNA of the Panthers. So environmental, but also ideological. And somewhere in that mix, the Panthers got lost, and who they are got lost. And we've had these what I would refer to as these very monster, almost Frankenstein articulations of the Panthers that often fail to really reflect what the original Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, Oakland, California, October 15th, 1966, created.
Now, Doc, I said in the opening that I wouldn't consider them to be Black first. I would definitely consider them to be, the rainbow first, all peoples, all colors, all that. That's who I would consider them to be. What would you consider them?
I would consider them to be a organization that was Black first, but willing to achieve the goals of being Black first by not being racially exclusive. They're willing to work with anyone, and it makes sense. They're willing to work with anyone who's working to bring down inequality. They're willing to work with people who are like-minded politically. Huey P. Newton is very, 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 very clear on this point of interracial alliances. Huey says that the resistance, the hesitation for Black leaders, Black groups to forge alliances with white groups, red groups, yellow groups, brown groups, whoever it is in actuality one of the signs of a mental insecurity or inferiority. Because there is in your mind somewhere that forging an alliance with white folk who you must think are superior is going to derail or compromise your group's position. Huey says, form the alliance and work together if you're going the same way. But the moment that they need to go left and it's best for you and your people to go right, the alliance, the coalition is now dead. You have to have the courage to go your own way, to have your own agenda, your own ideology, your own political priorities, and stand on it. And don't allow anyone to cause you to compromise it. And we've seen that be a mistake with Black groups who have tried to forge a coalition or an alliance with better funded white groups, only to be absorbed. You're not 50-50 partners. You're absorbed by them. You will speak when they allow you to get to the mic. Your agenda is going to have to be, in many ways, sometimes abandoned, unless there's some moments where they actually coexist in favor of the larger, more dominant group. That's one of the problems that we have. We have to have our own organizations that can stand on its own, regardless of who we forge an alliance with or not. So I would definitely call them Black first, because they never lost sight of liberating and uplifting Black America. I don't care if you're talking about the Panthers. I don't care if you want to extend it to its maximum length and throw in BLA, the Black Liberation Army, as being sort of associated with the Panthers. They're working to liberate Black folk. It's just quite simply that their analysis is not a purely racial one. It's one that factors in the realities of capitalism and capitalism in America.
Now, a lot of the breakout, and I want to take a second and welcome Tranquil to the program. Peace and blessings, Tranquil. We're glad you're here. And Emerald Jewel, peace and blessings, Queen. We're glad you're here. And we're talking about who owns the Panthers, the legacy, the lineage. and the battle over revolutionary memory. One of the big things, Doc, that got this whole thing started is when the Black Panthers here in Philly, under Paul Birdsong, decided to go out there and protest ICE when the white girl was killed. And, he was, hey, we're here. No matter if you're going up against ICE, then, we if ICE coming to get you, we're going to help protect you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I find that consistent with what the Black Panthers of yesterday would have done. I don't see no problem with that. I do understand that as Black people here, a lot of us don't agree with that stand that, you should go out there and fight for the Mexican, fight for the Somali, fight for this person, fight for that person. You should fight for only Black folks.
Mm-hmm.
But Paul's thing is, no, we're going to fight for any oppressed people that's out there, that's getting hurt, that's done wrong by ICE. I find that to be in lockstep with what the Panthers of yesterday believed.
Yes. I mean, he is what you would, and I don't know this brother, but just from what you said, he's an internationalist.
Yeah.
And that's what the Panthers were from almost from their genesis. They're internationalists. Mm-hmm. Many people have erroneously plopped the Panthers down within a Black leadership and protest tradition where they don't necessarily always fit. They're talking about it, and go back and read what they read. They're reading Mao Zedong. They're reading Che Guevara. They're reading Fidel. Okay, they're going to communist nations and meeting with communist leaders. So the idea that they believe that if they topple or if they uplift Black folk in America, that the job is done. No, they're fighting oppression everywhere it appears. The problem that you have there is so many of our people are historically illiterate, number one. But number two, it is hard to be Black in America. And so what's the great saying? Charity begins at home.
Right.
We want to get our home straightened out. And you have, and we had our little dust up with some of the more ignorant followers that we have when I took Malcolm to task for the idea of the house Negro, field Negro analogy. But we have a similar thing when we're talking about the Panthers, that people want this charity to start at home. And it's understandable, but when you look at who they are, who Huey P. Newton in particular was, who Bobby Seale is, they're internationalists and they're fighting against capitalism. They're fighting against globalism. That's who they are. They're not a narrow racial essentialist. And it's the reason why I repeatedly say that the Panthers are not really Black. They're red, meaning communist or socialist.
And Doc, and this is why I say that they're not, in my estimation, they're not Black first. Because when you're Black first, then that's where you stay. That's where everything runs. That's where everything enters. Until that issue is squared away, we can't move on to nobody else's issue.
See, I expect you to say that because that position is the exact same position of your dear brother Malcolm. Malcolm's very clear. He said, listen, until we get some Black unity, there can't be no Black-white unity. And I get it, and I understand that. Yet at the exact same time, one has to wonder if Black people can uplift themselves in a world where white minds have not been cleansed. Mm-hmm. That's a question, because in many ways it's white America that needs to have some corrective lenses put on them. And I believe that this food that they got in the White House right now is causing some of them to go to the optometrist and begin to wonder. But there is something to be said for addiction.
Mhm.
And white folk are by and large addicted to whiteness and to race. And they will cut off their, we just saw in this last election, they're willing to cut off their nose despite their face.
Exactly.
The only question that we're really facing right now is this larger question of how much suffering must they go through and for how long before they begin to see the interwoven nature of all of Americans and all of humanity, to be honest with you.
Mhm. Definitely. You know, I think a lot of our people, especially, I want to go ahead and welcome Christine Williams to the program. Peace
Welcome.
and blessings, Queen. We're glad you're here. And Matt, 285, peace and blessings, bro. We're glad you're here as well. You know, at some point, and the call from the streets of our people is, hey, we need to worry about us. Let's
Yep.
stop carrying for everybody else. Let's worry about us, because when it's us, nobody else is there.
And that is understandable.
Mhm.
And that is a very historically correct analysis of what it is meant to be Black in
Mhm.
America. That,
Mhm.
you know, when Dr. John Henry Clark said that, the one thing that you need to really understand is that nobody's coming to save you.
Exactly.
So we have that running in our reality, not just our minds, in our reality.
Mhm. And so, and you know, like I said, I was trying to get the bro to come on the program.
Mhm.
And that's would have been one of the things that I would have pointed out to him, is that our people are really tired of fighting for other people, and it's time for us to fight for our own self. And to see how he would have responded to that.
Well, let me say how Huey would have responded.
Mhm.
Huey would have said that you need to correct your understanding of who our people are and expand it to a point of humanity,
Mhm.
and really begin to comprehend and understand that the fundamental flaw, despite what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad taught, that white folk have been taught and their environment has caused them to behave the way they have historically. However, they can be corrected. They can be taught differently. And that's kind of where the one of the fundamental forks in the road occurs for when you're talking about how Black first would look at things and how the Panthers would look at some of these things. That
Mhm.
these are people who have just been taught wrong. We have
Mhm.
people who have to divest from their addiction to whiteness, because
Mhm.
in many ways, when you look at the behavior, the thoughts of non-white people in America, it's difficult to come up with any single moment that is not a reaction to how white folk have hoarded power and misused power.
Mhm.
And you know, Dr. King talks about this when he says that there's principally nothing wrong with Black power. He said, but the problem that you have is the connotation of Black power. That
Mhm.
you're going to put Blackness with power together. He said, what makes it wholly unfair is quite simply the reason that white America reacts to the idea and the concept and legacy, the slogan of Black power, why they react so negatively towards it, is that they've abused power historically.
Mhm.
That's what it is. And
Mhm.
that's very difficult to get over.
And you know, I guess that would be one part of my problem with
Hmm.
Huey and even Bobby, because I honestly I would rip them a new asshole, because I think the lens that they look out is corrupted.
Hmm.
Um,
You know,
because
Bobby was employed at Temple
Mhm.
for the longest time. Yeah, he worked for I want to say AFAM Studies in Temple Africana, Malefe Asante, Africana studies
Mhm.
at Temple University. He was right there with you.
Mm. Yeah, and I don't know whether how I want to say this, because I think that the real deal for them is, that they didn't mind, and I don't know whether they grew up in the North or the South or whatever, but I know over in
Who
California, they were,
who
you
who
know,
Bobby and
and
Huey.
Huey, right?
Huey's from, and ironically, well, I told you I had to go to a funeral in Louisiana. I for the first time in my life, I actually made it to Monroe, Louisiana. That's where
Mm,
he's from. But there's nothing in Monroe that honors Huey. You
mm,
wouldn't, he was a child when he left there. But Huey's from Monroe. Bobby's from outside of Dallas, Texas. Eldridge is from Arkansas. Geronimo Geronimo Jajaga. Geronimo is from Louisiana, close to New Orleans, in that region right there. When you look at the Panther leadership that's on the West Coast, these are all children who have migrated west. Geronimo being the only exception, because Geronimo was in his 20s when he went out to Cali.
mhm,
He was a Vietnam War veteran, and
right.
so he came back and got involved in some program, and he wound up, I want to say, on the campus of UCLA. So their roots are definitely Southern, and you follow the migratory patterns of Black folk. If you go back and I don't know if you ever read Walter Mosley, the great writer, wrote Devil in a Blue Dress,
Mm,
the Easy Rollins series. Easy, the main protagonist in that series, the detective. Easy is from Houston. Mouse, his sidekick, is from Dallas. So they follow that migratory pattern that leads Black folks all the way to the West Coast. This is largely a World War II relocation
mhm.
as a result of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. It opens up jobs for Black folk there. So all of them, pretty much all of them, are going to end up either in LA or the Bay Area. Yeah.
Mm.
So they're Southern. Their
Wow.
roots are Southern, but their rearing is West Coast. But
Okay.
one could argue that the rearing that they, and the context of the lives that they live, is as Southern as could be, because Black folk are going to migrate. How could we not migrate with the same culinary taste? How could we not migrate with the same culture? You don't just drop your culture because you move states or what have you. And this is the last thing that I'll say, is that probably the greatest, and when you look at the Black Panther Party's 10-point platform, you look at point number 7, which is an immediate end to police brutality. That's not accidental that the Panthers are talking about ending police brutality in Cali, the same way you would probably see someone in Mississippi or Alabama doing it.
Mhm.
It's not accidental that Tupac Amaru Shakur, 15, 16 years old, tells this story of trying to cross the street, and two Oakland Police Department officers stopped him, asked him what his name, and he said Tupac. They thought he was being smart, so they kicked his ass. Um, the law enforcement officers that really sets the tone and the tenor for Cali, they were recruited at the exact same time that Black folk were migrating west. You have a governor. Reagan becomes the governor there, which says something about the politics of Cali during the 1960s. But you also have a decision that's made by mayors, by civic leaders, and what have you. And the question is, how do we control all of these Negroes who are coming here for jobs? And the solution was, let's hire the very people that whoop their ass in the South to come out here and to patrol them. And that's how you wind up with such conflict on the West Coast. People think that the Rodney King beating just came out of nowhere. No, They've been whooping black folks' ass for years because they're from Alabama, they're from Mississippi, they're from Georgia, they're from Texas, and they were recruited. They were officers in those southern racist states, and they become officers and take their same practices straight out there to the West Coast with the idea of do what y'all do because white folk don't want to be overrun by black folk.
Right. We're going to go take a look at our first video. Let's see, share screen. And we'll come back and discuss this.
Who do you think our leaders are? Aaron Dixon is an original Black Panther, right? The window, safe line repair, safe line replace. That's what's gonna happen. They touch me.
When are Black people gonna stop fighting for Black immigrants who does not respect us and our lineage?
America is so desperate for us to get involved in this ICE fight. Yeah, I'm about to show you the Black Panther group, okay, that they presented that's supposed to.
To be honest, that's not the Black Panther Party. It don't stand for none of the same things that our Black Panther Party stood for back in the days. They were out here protecting their own people, the people who needed to be protected. The money that y'all are trying to protect nowadays don't need your protection.
You see on the news all the time, Renee, you know, everybody say her name, Renee. Right? She just got shot in the face by ICE.
Say Her Name was made for Black women who were constantly, still are, being overlooked in the criminal justice system today.
One more thing before I go to bed. Say Her Name is for Black women.
Hey, so I'm not trying to be rude at all, but Say Her Name is specifically reserved for Black women.
Tell you something, I'm not for the co-optation. We're not doing that. Say Her Name is for Black women. This is something that people should not have to come on here and correct.
The Black Panthers are a cosplay organization. They get their vest on, you know what I'm saying? They grab a gun and they go out and they march in formation, but they've never actually completed a task for us that we've needed them to complete. I'm not talking about all these little liberal tasks that they be doing, tasks that help everybody. I'm talking about getting things done for us.
And during the few moments that we have left, we want to have just an off-the-cuff chat between you and me.
Chairman Paul Birdsong, report for Active Community Defense Duty. Listen, two things that I need to run by you. Thing number one is, a lot of people are saying that we should not stand up against ICE because we're standing for people that aren't us. And Black Panthers only stand for Black people. That is a lie. Huey P. Newton said that we are internationalists and we stand with all oppressed people no matter what color they are. That's the founder of the Black Panther Party that said that. So everybody who's running around talking about Black Panthers don't stand up for people other than Black people don't know a damn thing about the Black Panther Party. That's thing number one. Thing number two, the Black Panther Party created something called the Rainbow Coalition, which is a coalition of Hispanics, Asians, whites, and Blacks from all over the world working together to fight oppression. Again, Black Panther stood with the Mexicans, stood with the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans, stood with the Japanese, the Vietnamese. We actually, the Black Panthers did a whole campaign to end the Vietnam War because they stood with Vietnam. So for you guys who are talking all of this gibberish about, oh, you guys aren't following traditions of the original, who do you think our leaders are? Aaron Dixon is an original Black Panther, right? Aaron Dixon is an original Black Panther who walked with Huey Newton. That's our leadership. And Billy J. Brooks, that was Fred Hampton's right-hand man. So you guys you sound stupid, you know, to be honest. You sound like you don't really know what you're talking about. Doing a lot of hooting and hollering and don't really know what you're talking about. If you watch Huey Newton's speech, he specifically says, we are not Black nationalists. We are internationalists. And we stand with all oppressed people across the globe, no matter what your ethnicity is. Come on, man. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. You telling us what we're supposed to be doing as Black Panthers, and you don't know the first thing about a Black Panther. All power to the people, though.
I saw this video. I'm going to play the video so y'all can hear some stuff off this clip because I got some shit to say. So y'all know the Black Panther Party, right? The new and approved Black Panther Party. To be honest, that's not the Black Panther Party. It don't stand for none of the same things that our Black Panther Party stood for back in the days. They basically mixed race now. There's a whole bunch of different races in the Black Panther Party. It should no longer be called the Black Panther Party if there's more than just one race in there. Y'all got Asians, y'all got mixed people. The dude that runs it looks like he's mixed. But listen to this shit here, because I totally disagree with everything this man just said. Just listen.
Agent ever run up on me, I guarantee you that when I put a hole in their chest the size of a window, safe line repair, safe line replace, that's what's gonna happen. They touch me. Unarmed woman was killed by ICE. If you think
He's talking about the white lady.
Brutalize the people while we're standing here, fuck around and find out. Our interactions with the police and ICE, and we hold them accountable.
Y'all protecting the wrong people.
Control the community and we hold them accountable. The Black Panther Party for self-defense, we're the same Panther Party from back in the day.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because the Black Panther Party back in the days was all black, copper-colored people. Hold on. Let me pause this real quick. The Black Panther Party back in the days was all copper-colored people. They were out here protecting their own people, the people who needed to be protected. The mother that y'all are trying to protect nowadays don't need your protection. The Black Panther Party was never meant for us to protect everybody else. It was meant for us to protect ourselves because they weren't protecting us. So the Black Panther Party today needs to change their name because they're not the Black Panther Party.
Forces threatening the lives of federal police. Here are the Black Panthers.
I put a hole in their chest the size of a window. We're a little more aggressive now, you dig? No ICE agent ever run up on me. I guarantee you that when I put a hole in their chest the size of a window, safe line repair, safe line replace, that's what's gonna happen. They touch me. Unarmed woman was killed by ICE. If you think you're about to come and brutalize the people while we're standing here, fuck around and find out. Our interactions with the police and ICE, and we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable. We patrol the community and we hold them accountable. The Black Panther Party for self-defense, we're the same Panther Party from back in the day, but we're a little more aggressive now, you dig? Carry bigger guns and we don't take no shit. Places where there are a lot of immigrants at, I think that the community around them needs to take special care to them and needs to start escorting them to and from everywhere to make sure that they're safe. Because them ICE agents ain't gonna act like that if it's a bunch of people standing outside with assault rifles and shotguns. It's a semi-automatic shotgun. That means them shotgun shells that shoot out of a pump, they shoot them rapidly. If you are going to legally arm yourself with something bigger than what they got. Those who serve in the public, they should be fearful of the public. They should be fearful that the public is going to be dissatisfied with their job that they're doing, not feeling like they're tyrants, not feeling like they're bullies because they got guns and body armor and walkie-talkies. That makes them immune to whatever the people would do. I think you want to correct the ideology of the pig and the mentality of the slave catcher. You meet them with equal force. All power to the motherfucking people.
No power to the pig.
So I just saw a video of a black brother. I don't know where he's at. He was heavily armed with an automatic shotgun. And he was representing the Black Panther Party. And his reason for saying that, you know, pretty much in the video is because ICE killed an unarmed woman, as we all know. And something in my spirit was just like, why, out of all the things that happened since like the 80s, why is the Black Panthers, you know, coming back now because of ICE? And ICE is not really, you know, after black people per se, you feel me? Black Americans, like, shout out my Zos, but you know what I'm saying? And it's just like the dude was like, you know, they coming back more aggressive. And, you know, I'm just making the observation and asking the question, what y'all think about this shit? Like, I think the government is just trying to put them back in play because they want us fighting.
Y'all, I don't know what the F is going on. I'm about to show you something. So America is so desperate for us to get involved in this ICE fight that they presented a Black Panther group. Yeah, I'm about to show you the Black Panther group, okay, that they presented that's supposed to.
And on behalf of the Black Panther Party, well, this cop is a good cop and this cop is a good cop. Once they get to the slave catcher patrol, and I take it, they call the police officers now, but their name is slave catcher patrol. That's what they is. That's what they always have been. Every black officer out there, shame on you. You know how the black police officer came into fruition?
Ma'am, who are these people? Now, before I get into it, I appreciate anybody who is trying to stand up for justice, okay? Whether they are pink, red, green, whatever, right? However, what the is this?
Power to the people. I'm Chairman Paul Birdsong from the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. I want to address a couple things. Thing number one, see a lot of people asking why the Black Panthers are going up against ICE for the immigrants. Well, I want to tell you something. Black Panther Party is not a Black nationalist organization. The new Black Panther Party might be. I'm not sure. The Revolutionary Black Panther Party might be. Any of these variations of Black Panther parties might be. But the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, the one that Huey Newton started with Bobby Seale, is an internationalist organization that stands as allies with oppressed people no matter what their ethnic background is, no matter what their cultural background is.
When are Black people going to stop fighting for Black immigrants who does not respect us and our lineage? You guys are really out there in Minnesota fighting against ICE agents and shouting against ICE agents for immigrants who are on TikTok every day disrespecting us, saying that we like fried chicken, we have nothing, as if they know every Black American in the world. My thing is, I love the fact that the Black Panthers are out there fighting for what they think is right. But do you not understand that these people does not like us? Do you not understand that the Democrats are fighting for immigrants way more than they are fighting for Black Americans? That is why most of us now are Republicans. And if you think about it, and if you go back into history, there were Black Republicans. You know, the Democrats were the KKK. The Black Republicans were anti-slavery. So do your research. I'm a Republican for that reason.
Oh, shit.
And just open-ended, any comments you want to give to like my generation, the younger generation, or just any generation?
Legally arm yourselves and unify, or else you will die. And I mean that in a literal sense. You see on the news all the time, Renee, you know, everybody say her name, Renee. Right? She just got shot in the face by ICE, right? This is a real thing, and they're not gonna stop. And the more they hurt people and get away with it, the more they're gonna get that momentum to keep going. So everybody needs to unify and come together, and everybody needs to arm themselves, right? Because the revolution is in the barrel of a gun, whether you believe it or not. You want to be comfortable and you want to be nice, you don't want no confrontation. Look, Huey P. Newton said it the best. Anybody without a gun is either a slave or they're about to be one. You know, so and people worried about people being scared of him. Huey P. Newton also said this when somebody asked him, "Don't you think the Black Panther Party is scary? Don't you think it's scaring people?" He said, "My people have been the ones afraid. Hey, sister, we got free groceries over here, free hot soup and free clothes." He said, "My people be the one afraid for hundreds of years. So if you're saying people scared of us, now that's a compliment. That means we're doing something right." You know what I'm saying? Would you rather be scared of ICE? Would you rather be scared of the slave catcher, the police? Would you rather be scared of the government forces that are working against the people? Or would you rather be them scared to mess with you? That's for you to choose. That's for you to decide. Unify, arm yourself, and keep this mentality all the time. All power to the people.
All power.
Everyone in the
All right, I'm gonna stop it right there and take this time to talk about what we just saw. So, Doc, your first comments?
That was a lot. Let me say that. So it was a lot from a lot of different directions. The brother, let me just address the brother Paul Birdsong straightforward. You have studied Huey. You're politically astute. There's no doubt about anyone who understands the Panthers understands that truly ideologically, and I can only go on what I saw right there. Ideologically, there's nothing that you can take that brother to task for in regards to the spirit and the ideology of what he's advancing as far as the original Black Panther Party for self-defense. The only thing that I would warn him on is make sure when you're talking about the Panthers that you say co-founded by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale, because Seale got a problem with being forgotten as the co-founder of the Black Panther Party. And if you meet him, he will let you know that, you know, he had a problem with that. But ideologically, there's nothing that brother stated that is incorrect. He's right and exact. And in many ways, he's representing a lot of the things that I've historically said and been attacked, like this brother's being attacked by people who have no historical understanding background of the Panthers. Having said that, though, looking at where the people are, We often talk about the Black Panther Party's Breakfast for Children program, free lunch program, and giveaways. But we also need to accentuate and add to that and begin dealing with it as an educator. I can tell you this, beginning to, as a man think of, so is he, we need to bring back the Panther schools. We need to bring back independent Black educational institutions, be they K through 12, after school programs, Saturday schools, what have you. You must educate your own. A lot of the criticism that we're hearing from people is quite simply, how dare you stand against injustice when it appears, when there's still injustice occurring within our community? How dare you? Focus your energies on us, because those people don't care about us. And you're never going to be able to solve that problem, because quite simply, the definition of who we, I, and us are. The Panthers, when they're talking about us, they are truly talking about what Fred Hampton talked about with the Rainbow Coalition: Black power for Black people, brown power for brown people, red power for red people, yellow power for yellow people, white power for white people, all power to the people. Our people are never going to be able to understand that if you don't teach it to them. And so with all of the action, all of the responding, and in many ways it's reactionary, we need to back up off of that, I would say, a little bit, and get back to the basics. Who should they be reading? Who should they be listening to? Who should they be studying? Because until you get that together, you're going to have a circus every time, every single time, every day, because people don't know what they're talking about. They're going on what they believe, what they feel, what should be, and all the analysis it's not grounded in anything, and it's not, therefore it's not going anywhere. All we're doing is, to be honest with you, wasting enormous amounts of time that we don't have.
Definitely. And when we're looking at our people, I'm not sure if I want to call it ignorance, but it's like that's what the perception of the Black Panthers are, to be out there supporting and helping Black people only. That's the perception. Because most people just deal with what they see on the surface.
Yeah, but let's
don't take the deep dive.
Yeah, but let's be fair to those people that the initial, let's say the initial year and a half of the Panthers, that's what it was. It was the Black Panther Party for self-defense. Huey and Bobby understood that they needed to differentiate themselves from a crowded field of activist organizations. You got to remember that where they were, Cal Berkeley is the epicenter of American radicalism. You have hundreds of groups there that are trying to differentiate themselves. The Panthers differentiate themselves through their first community service activity, which was the Panther Patrols. And they're able to show and prove a proof of concept to those who are around. That's their genesis. However, deep diving, as you put it, into the finer points, the development, because after a while, and this is one of the things that I would say to Brother Birdsong, is after a while, the Panthers stopped referring to themselves as the Black Panther Party for self-defense and simply went by the Black Panther Party, because they matured to the point where they're no longer committed to being reactionary, and they're actually being proactive against some of the things that are occurring. But there is no way except through education and a willingness to engage education, to read and to study, to correct the nonsense that you heard people saying against Brother Birdsong and against the Panther program. A great argument could be forged that says, quite simply, they made a strategic error when they adopted the name Black Panther Party. They should have started off with something totally different and put their own. It could be the same ideology, the same priorities. They could still be internationalist, but they wouldn't be delayed by all of this criticism that people are issuing against them, because you have people saying, well, you ain't like the original Black, and they know nothing about the original Black Panther Party, but you still have to address it. Now, I don't know if the name Black Lion Party is necessarily going to bring them in, but they have to create their own path, and in many ways stop trying to migrate a time that is, and this is probably one of the hardest things to really accept. Next year will be the 60th anniversary of the founding of the Black Panther Party. The world has changed. The world has changed. The context has changed. Everything has changed about it. Yet we're still pulling on that icon. We're still pulling on that, trying to adopt that and integrate that legacy. Let's create a new one that addresses the contemporary issues that are facing our people.
You know, one of the people on the video talked about task. What task have you completed?
Yes.
And I want to get into that. What task? Because I don't know, but I don't think he's completed a task. I don't think any Black Panther Party has completed a task.
But let's be clear. It is a task to go out and protest. That is the completion of a task. He's using the wrong word when he talks about task. What he's actually saying is tangibly. What did you go out there and what did y'all go out there and do that could be brought home that's tangible, that we can touch? Because in many ways, what you guys are doing is in the theoretical, in the ideological, that we stand with them, that if you were truly an American, you would agree that everyone should have due process. That's all well and good. It's the exact same thing that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and SCLC ran into. Yeah, you secured the vote. You secured, quote unquote, equal rights, but I need a job. I need to put a new roof on my house. Tangible things. What are the tangible things that you have accomplished? And the truth of the matter is that those are pretty much non-existent. Pretty much non-existent. And let's just be fair. And I celebrate Black activism around the clock. But as long as you're positioned to react to a shooting of a woman, and there is no Black community program ongoing, because you can do both of those things simultaneously. There is no ongoing program. Where's your freedom school? Where's your all of these other staples of the Black Panther Party? Where's your, the Panthers had an ambulance service in New Orleans because white ambulance companies would not transport Black folk. So they created their own. Where are those tangible things? Without those, it seems as if you're kind of spitting in the wind and accomplishing nothing. And that's what the people are saying. We have problems in our community that need to be addressed. Can you address them? And every time we don't address them, we in many ways are going to lose support for our people. Period.
Definitely. And at one point on another video, he talked about why they're not nationalists and why they're internationalists. And it says that we're not nationalists because nationalists are racist. And, I had an issue with that big time. What's your thoughts on that?
That nationalists are racist? I don't believe that a person who emphasizes survival of themselves and their group is necessarily a racist. Me, myself, and you know that my perspective is very close to Huey P. Newton's. I would love to be colorblind in the truest sense of the word. I would love that, to be able to look at fellow working class people as fighters in the same battle against inequality, be it gender, racial, what have you. However, I live in the real world, and I recognize that if I'm not watching white folk, if I don't keep my eye on them, they have a tendency to take all of the meat out the pot and leave us with some water and a couple beans. It's on them to, in many ways, prove to me that they are not racist, that they are not covetous, that they're not still addicted to whiteness. And then we can talk about being, all inclusive and this and that. It's we talk about the idea of Fred Hampton's Rainbow Coalition that Jesse Jackson stole from him, the entire concept. Jesse created a whole organization, on a concept that he stole, which is classic Jesse, like we talked about earlier this week. But Hampton's construct, if you listen to it closely, it's power for all people. And you're going to need equal amounts of power for all groups so that no group is able to encroach upon another group. Because if they decide, well, look, we're going to just go take their power, that group has enough power and wherewithal to resist itself, to resist such encroachment. It's the exact same thing that you see on a geopolitical basis is what we're always seeing as far as the quote unquote Middle East, Northern Africa, that groups have to be able to protect themselves. Black folk have to be able to, Lord knows we need to have some things within our community that allows for us to protect our interests and to flourish. And that's just what it is. It's too late in the game for you to be naive.
Mm-hmm.
Will I work with my white contemporaries? For sure. Will I work with my Black contemporaries? For sure. But the moment that they decide that they need to behave, think, and act in a way that is not beneficial to Jones land, kind of like Cassie land, that alliance and that ability to work together is over. We can both win, but I'll be damned if you gonna win while I lose. And I support you in that process. And that's sort of how you have to look at that. And so the idea of using what amounts to as a 6 decades old analysis of the world may not fit today, because Black folk are connected in a way that hasn't always proven to be productive. So we know that the suffering and the lack is there. Now, how do we address it? And we address it not by ambulance chasing incidents. We build our own organizations and our own structures that serve our interests. And that should be job one.
Christine, she talked about justice. She says justice, I'm gonna put that back up here on the screen. Justice is about balance between people, guaranteeing that no one is being mistreated and guaranteeing that everyone who needs help gets the help they are needed ASAP. Nearly Fuller. What would you say justice is, Doc?
I would go with Neely Fuller's definition that when you're talking about justice, that justice is accessible, justice is immediate, that justice is kind and fair and freely given. Now, do we have justice in this land? Emphatically, no. We don't even have fairness in this land. Let's be very clear about that. That the scales of justice are definitely tilted to benefit certain people. So that means that there's going to be justice denied to some who should be able to access it. That's justice. One of the things that bothers me is when one of our loved ones ends up being killed by some unjust person. And I don't care if that unjust person is black, white, red, yellow. Okay. Because immoral people come in all shapes, colors, and sizes. But your loved one has been killed. You have a trial, the person is found guilty. And let's say that they're sentenced to life in prison. It bothers me when people stand up and they say, well, at least we got justice. No, you didn't. You didn't get justice. Okay. Justice would be your deceased loved one getting out of that grave, resuming their life as if maybe they just went to sleep for a period of time, and the offender taking their place in the grave. That's justice. It is fair, it is immediate, it is kind, it is accessible. We don't have justice here. And that's one of the problems that you hear. They don't articulate it that way, but you hear suffering folk, suffering Black folk, which is who I'm concerned with. Suffering Black folk really crying and hollering about. Where's the justice? Because they don't have access to it. The fact that we live in a nation that is so rich, so wealthy, and people are homeless. And we're talking about, I'm reminded of my favorite Tupac Amaru Shakur song. It's called Changes. And he has a line in there where he's talking about the universality of pain and suffering. He says, because both Black and white are smoking crack tonight. And so do I, as a Black man, consider it unfortunate that white folk are smoking crack as well? Yes. But I can't envision a world where I would bypass helping my own, addressing their needs, before I run off somewhere else and try to help someone else. That's an issue. And it's one that a group like Birdsong's Black Panther Party is going to have trouble with. As far as remaining true to the doctrine and the ideology, they're probably, and what he's saying is probably the closest I've heard people do. But the optics surrounding it, because the memory of the people, and when I say memory of the people, I'm really talking about the rumors and the false memories of Black folk, is that Huey, Bobby, Lil Bobby, they were solely and exclusively servicing and protecting the needs of Black America. You have to address that through action.
And I agree. I want to welcome Jerome Bottoms to the program. Peace and blessings, bro. We're glad you're here. He says, until it hurts to hurt us, we will keep getting hurt. And I think that is the main principle that has to be dealt with. He talked about, safe flight repairs, safe flight, You guys approach me like that and putting a hole in your chest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And
you got 6 or 7 members. Okay, so y'all gonna die right there over somebody that's not even a quote unquote one of you, is not one of us. But yet the whole of us still struggle and still looking for justice, because we're not hitting those who actually are doing the hurt to us. That's the only language that the powers that be understand. When you put that pain on that ass, then that's a totally different thing. Then you'll start to get respected. Then your things will start to change up. It takes me back, Doc, when in New York City, where the mayor at that time, Rudy Giuliani, had hired this police commissioner that, supposed to have been the best dude. And they went and rushed the mosque. And Nation of Islam, they're going to fight back. So police getting wound up thrown down the steps and got their ass whooped. And he's like, well, what's going on? How did this happen? How did this happen? And the commissioner said, well, we have a policy that you don't rush into the Nation of Islam. If they have a situation, you call on the phone first to find out what in the hell is going on. We do not just go and invade because you're not going to win that struggle. That's their open policy, because they understand that if you go that way, you're going to be dealt with and you ain't going to like the outcome. So let's pick up the phone and talk to see what's going on, because we may not even be needed. I think that for us as a people, we have to develop that as our ideology, as our method of how we deal with things. This international approach, it just doesn't work for us. And I don't see a season where it has ever worked for us. And that's something that has to be dealt with when we're thinking about really affecting change in our spirit of world.
Yeah, but see, this is one of the foremost problems with adopting and trying to grandfather in the legacy of the Black Panther Party. You're behaving and you're talking and behaving as if you inherited the Panthers, and you didn't. So the free breakfast program, the free legal aid, the charge for sickle cell anemia testing, all of the things that grew out of the Marxian concept of dialectical materialism, you ain't got none of them. But you got the rhetoric, you got the guns, you got the image, you got all of those things. They have the ability to be somewhat notable because of that legacy. So you're operating as if you are an organization that is 60 years old. A 60-year-old organization has an infrastructure, has some rules of engagement, has some priorities, has some things like that. The Nation of Islam right now is a far cry different from when it began with Master Fard Muhammad and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They have matured, they have advanced, they have changed, they have altered. It's in the same spirit, but it's more efficient, it's more powerful. Okay, it is as disciplined. So here you have a situation where you're promoting yourself as, well, we're internationalists. That's understandable for Huey, for Bobby, for Elaine Brown, because we've seen them go to communist China. We've seen them meeting with Fidel Castro. It's not accidental that Cuba becomes kind of the safe haven for Panthers who are running away from incarceration. William Lee Brent, Assata Shakur, the list goes on. Okay. So now you have an organization that is trying to walk in those steps without that infrastructure. So the idea of being internationalist, yeah, that's cool. But prior to Huey and Bobby becoming internationalists, they were patrolling the streets of Oakland with 3 members that grew to 5, grew to 6, grew to 8, grew to 11, 12, 13. They were deeply rooted within the Black community of Oakland and the Bay Area in general. So to come out and say, well, we're internationalists, yeah, ideologically you're correct, but can you really be internationalist without a home base to represent? Because when you look at Israel, they're internationalists, but they have a nation that is behind them. look at any nation that you want to. Look at any major organization. They have a foundation that is behind them. So in many ways, the adoption of the icon and the imagery and the name of the Black Panther Party bolsters you almost as if you're on steroids, but it ain't real.
Mhm.
And many of the people that are criticizing you are in many ways providing you a very clear idea of start at home. Start at home and deliver and accomplish some of these tasks. Period.
Definitely. I want to, Christine talks about free.
Whoa, go back to that last comment.
It's part of the first one.
Huh?
It's part of the first one.
Okay, I was gonna say, well, I thought I saw your boy's name there. I know y'all close. That's your main man.
Nah. So she says free, but now if you want the new Black Panthers to help you, you must pay them $300 or more, at least in Houston, Texas. And she drops the name Cornell X and Dr. Candace Matthews. I don't know who Dr. Candace is, but I know Cornell is the fraud. So
she's a sister that I'm pretty sure has an attractive sister, has a cowboy hat on every time she's in front of the camera. One of my favorite students of all time. I won't call him my favorite student of all time because I don't want his head to get too big. Nicholas Malone. He had a conflict in a pool hall, and they came and they represented him. And Nick called me. He sent me the news coverage. They was all on the Houston news, right? Nick's laughing into the phone. He was like, "Man, I got a black army behind me." So yeah, I'm familiar with them. Most definitely.
So she talks about the money part that you have to pay, for their services.
Yeah,
and
that is and has been for a long time. Cornell's business. He's no different than who's the brother that loses every case, but he gets you some money. Crump.
Yeah. And so it's like, and I don't know about back in the day when it came to certain issues of how the organizations were able to do what they do. I knew the Nation of Islam was big, so whenever they needed to do whatever they had to do, they took care of it and done it. Even to the day, if they had to show up, the minister comes on his own dime and do what needs to be done.
Yeah, but y'all are the equivalent of Walmart. You're not a one storefront operation. So there's strength in numbers, and that's one of the situations where it pays to be able to have your own and to be independent. And think about how difficult it is to have a situation where you have to get Black folk to go out and work for you for no pay. Because that's in many ways what we saw with the selling of the final calls, and you can turn it into kind of an entrepreneurial endeavor, brother, if you sell these. But if you got a one-stop shop, you in trouble. You got to have some money. And that is that Negro's business for sure. That's one thing that I'll say about. But the other thing that I'll say about it is that when you go back and you look at all of those arrests, because Dr. King was always getting arrested for one thing or another. You go back and you look at that, and the bails that had to be paid, the bonds that had to be paid. The question becomes, who paid them? Who had that kind of money that would have been able to pay that? And then as today, if you want to find the Black folk who have money, the arena has not changed of who got money. It's the entertainment industry. There's an untold story of blues musicians paying a lot of money to the civil rights movement. No one talks about it. And the other population that also gave a lot of money, which I know is, it probably ain't gonna sit very well with you, are the Jews.
Mm.
They gave a lot of money. The black Jewish relationship was one that was very strong until the Allen Bakke case. Once the Allen Bakke case happened, you saw the black and Jewish relationship in many ways dissipate.
No, well, explain people what is the Bakke case? What is that?
Oh, it was the challenge to affirmative action that it happened in the state of California system where a Jewish gentleman, he sued on the grounds that affirmative action was discriminatory. He was Bakke, he was Jewish. That affirmative action was discriminatory, and in I think it was it's not Eleanor Holmes Norton. I can see the sister. She's a small Mary Frances Berry. She says this. She said that in our zeal to include Black people, we failed to recognize that we were excluding some other people. And Bakke sues. Bakke ends up winning that case. And the state of California is able to continue using race as a plus factor, but things would never be the same between Black folk and Jewish people, because many Black folk were offended by that and said that the Jews had actually abandoned us, that they were the ones whose history closest mirrored ours as far as the transatlantic slave trade and the Jewish Holocaust experience under the Nazis and Adolf Hitler. That alliance broke apart. And then who really caused the separation is Minister Farrakhan, when he began to drag Jews in public. That was major. And of course, we can't forget the commentary by Jesse Jackson, where he referred to New York City as Jaime Town.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. She also says that I can understand if people want to donate, but to refuse the very people who you claim to want to help is a problem to me. Most of the people who need help are poor and at the poverty level. And that's very true. That's very true.
It's very true. And one is left with no other conclusion than to say that oftentimes figures like Juan LX operate from the ethos that the best thing they can do for the poor is not to become one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to be paid for what they deem to be their services. It's a business for him. It's an ambulance chasing, race hustling business.
Now, we talked about the legacy of the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to their family members, talking about the girl named Myesha, which is Huey's niece. What's your thoughts on that? Does she have a leg to stand on to say?
As far as what?
Say whether who can be a Black Panther, who can use that name, that legacy. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, if you want to give her authority, she do. But the Panther name, the Panther icon, the Panther imagery dates all the way back to World War I. I just think that individuals who are trying to adopt the Black Panther name and persona are kind of on shaky ground, because truly you're not members of the Black Panther Party. And we hear the name Aaron Dixon bannered around quite a bit as if he's the overlord of the Panthers and who can be a Panther and who can't be a Panther. For me, it just it reeks of a continuation of something one of my students, DeMarcus Hamilton, said to me, and he said, "Negroes sure know how to waste some time, don't they?" You know, that time that you guys are spending on a mental masturbation session about if you can be Panthers, if not, who can determine if you can be a member of the Panthers? Who, you know, are you in or are you going to be out? That's time that could have been spent building a freedom school, developing curriculum, reading, studying, you know, truly servicing your people and your community. But those thoughts are often fleeting for our people. So, I mean, if you want to make her the overlord of Pantherland, then I guess she can determine. But if you're more reasonable minded and you want to just help the people, create an organization under your own name and cut through all the stuff and quit, you know, quit, as the one brother put it, cosplaying, which I don't think that they're necessarily doing, but I understand what he meant. But the Panthers are, you know, that was almost 60 years ago, man. You know, if you were 20 when you joined the Black Panther Party, and the majority of them were 20 and below, you're going to be 80 next year. And we're still talking about it. We're still attempting to seize their legacy. There's something that is, you know, the times have changed and we need to move in a different way.
Is there and real quickly, who is this Aaron Dixon? I've never.
He was a rank and file Panther member.
Wasn't no leadership guy.
He was, you know, he wasn't Huey, Bobby, Fred. You ain't never seen no T-shirt with Huey, Fred, Bobby, and Aaron. You know, he's a Panther who wrote a book, and that is kind of the ticket now for importance. Geronimo Pratt, he wrote a book. Well, he had a book written about his experience. He didn't actually write that book, and for a while it was about Geronimo Jajaga, and of course Geronimo's attorney that defended unsuccessfully at first, but eventually got him released, was none other than Johnny Cochran.
And so, you know, we're going to look at this video from the niece, Myesha, and see.
This is Huey's niece.
Yes. Let's check this out.
My name is Myesha Newton. My father's name was Walter Newton. He was the brother of Huey P, who started the Black Panther Party in Oakland, California. Okay? My handle name is Myesha 415 Newton. I got birth certificate, paperwork, and a whole bunch of Newtons who are ready to listen. This goes out to the Black Panther Party, the new United Black Panther Party, whoever's out there protesting with these Somalians. I'm about to get a cease and desist order against you, and I'm about to sue you because you guys you are not going to defame my uncle's name like that. We're not doing that. See in court. I'm going to try to make this video as calmly as possible. My name is Myesha Newton. My father's name was.
Now that we talk about ignorance.
Wait a minute. Yeah. I'm laughing because Bobby Seale sued the new Black Panther Party when you know, Khaled's group. He sued them for copyright infringement and all of that. And I told you that I brought Bobby to my school to interview him. He gave us we had a dinner for the old Panthers and things like that. And he had sued them by then. And so he's up on stage, okay? And there's the sister who was in charge of like our student activities. Her name was Isis McCraw. Isis. Me and Isis are shooting text at each other about how the program is going and things like that. And this was, remember I told you I thought I was going to have to beat Bobby Seale up. And then this is that day, that night when he, when he got upset because people have forgotten who he is, basically. And all they want to talk about is Huey. However, not at the beginning, it was sort of the middle of the speech. The new Black Panther Party walked in. And so I'm texting Isis. I'm like, yo, I don't know if you know this, but Bobby Seale sued these cats. Okay. And it was probably about 10 of them. They were like a ragtag group. They looked like overweight, dusty Confederate soldiers. Okay. And they were walking. I remember one of them, it was a female. She walked up and down the aisles, okay, with something that looked like a radio, or, you ever seen those things where the people walking and they had those rods and they say that they're trying to find water and the rods across when they find, it looked something like that. Okay. And she's walking up and down. Okay. And eventually, because they were, I still remember, because it was hilarious. They were like 40 minutes late to the program. Okay. And so the program's going on, and here they come stumbling and bumbling in. Okay. After the program is over, Bobby Seale is signing books on the second floor of the MSC Memorial Student Center. And I wanted him to sign my book. So I give him the book, and he takes it and he said, oh no. He said, this is the original book with all the information in it. And I was like, yeah. He said, man, how long have you had that book? And we had the interview and a little conflict before. And I told him, man, I've had this book since I first learned about the Panthers back in the 80s. He said, they don't print this book anymore. You got like an extra 150 pages of information. So he signs the book and he's handing it to me. And he whispers to me, would you please get the police to get these fools away from me? Because he did not feel comfortable with them, because they didn't position themselves behind him like they FOI, like they actually security. Okay. So now I gotta make a decision. I gotta go get the police to come and get the new Black Panther Party from around the co-founder of the Black Panther Party. And so, I went and got him. I was like, hey, man, look, this, unfortunately, the police was black. And I knew one of them, a brother named Scipio. And I was like, hey, man, this is the situation right here. And so they was able to get them from around him. But and that's why I'm laughing, because Bobby Seale sued them too for trademark and copyright infringement and things like that. And it's a continuation of decades of this, because I guarantee you it was probably 20, 30 years ago, whenever Khaled had his group, when he had his falling out with the Nation of Islam, right? And he goes to Dallas and he forms the new Black Panther Party. That's who it was. Khaled was deceased, unfortunately, by then. But yeah, that's who it was. Boy, I was like, man, if this is our front line, boy, we in trouble right here. We in trouble. Mismatched uniforms, late to the revolution. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna watch this other video, watch part of it at least. Let me share screen.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you.
All power to the people. Hello.
Hi, Julia. Nice to meet you.
Power to the people. Power to the people. Skip.
Nice to meet you.
All power to the people.
You all ready to come in?
Yeah. I'm Chairman Paul Birdsong from the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense.
I'm Comrade Jazz. You can call me Skip. Of the Black Panther Party of Self-Defense.
We met the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense at their headquarters in Philadelphia. Okay, what's in there?
AK-47 and the AR-12.
Their popularity has surged in recent weeks, especially following the death in Minneapolis of Renee Nicole Good, killed by an ICE officer.
They just killed that lady right there in that car, y'all.
This is my response to ICE right here. You know, the United States of America hates this gun. This is a Polish AK-47.
What's your message to ICE?
Fuck around and find out. Try doing that shit to me. See what happened.
Look around. Look around. Look what he's doing to our peoples. No matter what your skin color, you're our peoples. And we're gonna stand right beside our peoples. Every means necessary. And that's what I mean. Black power. All power to the people.
The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense draws inspiration from the Black Panther Party founded in 1966 in the United States. The movement rejected the idea of a nonviolent revolution and instead promoted armed self-defense to counter police violence. Internal tensions and intense state repression led to the party's dissolution in the early 1980s.
Come stand with the ancestors. All power to the people. All power to the people. No power to the pig.
Online, some people question whether Paul Birdsong truly has the legitimacy to carry on the mission of the Black Panthers. Others fear that his approach could spark an escalation of violence.
I was in the blood, you know what I'm saying? And I knew eventually the revolution was going to catch up to me, but I ran from it for a long time.
Birdsong was mentored by former members of the party. They were the ones that allowed him to use their logo and philosophy in a state where open carry of firearms is legal.
This is the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, right? That for self-defense part is the pinnacle thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to attack us first. You throw one shot at me, I'm throwing 30 at you.
Okay,
You know
so it's not even eye for eye. It's like eye for 30 eyes.
It's like, no, what it is it's like,
At
it's
all
like
costs.
our training is to make sure that if you do fire a shot at us, you and nobody next to you that has your back has the ability to fire another shot going forward. You know what I'm saying?
You are all ready for that, ready to...
Straight like that.
Straight like that. Let it rock.
Is this a full-time job for most of you? You do
every
this
day.
every day.
Every day. It's a lifestyle now. 24/7 is a lifestyle.
It's a commitment.
Commitment. Gotta take an oath. Feel me?
Yeah. And for how long will you be doing this?
You said for how long will we be doing this?
Yeah.
Till he died.
Mm.
My grandpa was a Black Panther back in the day. Feel me?
Your grandfather was a
Yes,
Black Panther.
Yes, my grandpa was a Black Panther. Yes. I mean, that's why I said it's in my blood, literally. Feel me?
Yes.
Like it in. We can walk in any hood at any given moment, anytime. They love us, literally.
So what's the plan now?
We're patrolling.
All right.
You watch the channel.
Like we said, your hood, in a hood near you.
Listen, yeah. You know what I'm saying? You guys, it's your first day. So brothers is gonna make you into some lethal ass motherfucking revolutionaries. If you're scared of that, walk away. But if you're ready to step to that car, tired of this shit and you're ready to actually do something about it, we're gonna chisel the fuck out of you.
With rising tension around ICE operations in Minneapolis, the Panthers have increased the number of patrols and intensified their recruitment. Their goal is to protect the community against all forms of police violence. During the election campaign, Donald Trump promised to carry out the largest mass deportation in U.S. history. Over the past year, his administration says it has deported more than 605,000 undocumented immigrants.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, them fucking pigs out here. Yeah, y'all ain't know my fucking boy.
Just kidnap them motherfuckers. That shit is illegal.
You know what I
This
mean?
shit'll get you shot over.
Yes, the fuck it will. And it's wrong because it's like they think they're above the law. They can do what the fuck they want because that's cool. They think they're above the law because Trump's stupid ass. Come on now, how you gonna wage war on your own fucking country?
For being out here doing everything y'all doing for us. Because these cops ain't doing nothing for us. My little cousin almost got raped two nights ago.
Where?
On the Broad Street line.
We'll be on the Broad Street line from now on. I'm sorry
I
to have
appreciate you.
Yep.
I really appreciate y'all. I've been waiting to see y'all. I heard like y'all been doing what y'all gotta do, and I appreciate y'all very much.
Tonight
But,
after the patrol, when we start the patrol, we'll go get on the line and write it down in the.
You guys can go in.
During the patrol, the Panthers stopped for their traditional smoothie break.
You know, over the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of people reaching out, but this is what my inbox looks something like. And this is just 29 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, an hour ago, 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago, 10 hours ago, 16 hours ago.
Back at the headquarters, someone hoping to join the Black Panthers was waiting for birdsong. In the short time we spent with the party, this happened at least 5 times.
No one's going to be there to protect us. We have to protect ourselves as well as our loved ones. Because everything that's happening right now is just, it's just ridiculous and it's out of control.
And you have around how many men? Can you tell me, like, approximately?
A little under 100.
Okay.
In Philly.
Because I was hearing about ICE recruitment. They like tripled their budget. They recruited more than 10,000 people.
But that's why you need stuff like this.
But then there's escalation, because that's always the question. Do you believe in nonviolent revolution?
It's possible, but the threat of violence has to be there.
But I mean, if Trump sends like hundreds of ICE agents, are you ready for that?
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah?
Send them.
At night, the Panthers patrolled one of the city's main subway lines.
Let us do it. Come on. Don't worry about it. Come on. Don't worry about it. Come on.
The ticket inspector let them in for free.
Oh, it's you again.
You might as well take your ass right back upstairs.
Watch the word, guys.
Black power, motherfucker. The pigs came down here. They came because people had guns. And then they went back upstairs because the Black Panthers got guns and they ain't go shit about it. As soon as they saw who it was, they took off. They don't want to fight, man. They don't want to fight, man.
In Philadelphia, open carry is legal in most public spaces for those who hold a license to carry firearms.
Oh, Black Panther Party is back. For real. What is you guys' plan? I mean, what is the goal?
Black liberation.
Black liberation? I thought I was liberated already.
Yeah. Well, ICE came on here, like walking on here, because they come on trains. So imagine they came on here looking around and they saw you, and they wanted
Aren't you guys afraid that the police is gonna start confronting you guys?
The police are afraid of us.
Is this legal?
The police are terrified of us.
What you doing?
Yeah, the police are terrified of us.
Literally, we make them leave. We make them move.
As soon as we approach cops, they take off running.
Okay. Power to the people. I don't want to get shot by no police.
No,
But I need to stop though.
Yeah, we on that.
Okay.
We're
I need to
anti-ICE.
stop.
We're fired.
All right, cool guys. Thank you.
Y'all heard him. He's the chairman, man. He speak for the people that don't have a voice, man. And you know what I mean? He speak facts, man. For the people that don't defend themselves. Y'all see what's going on?
All power to the people.
All right. Y'all see what's
We contacted the city of Philadelphia and its police department for comment on the presence of the Black Panther Party for self-defense on their streets. They did not respond. So far, there have been no major ICE operations in Philadelphia. Meanwhile, the party is gaining momentum and spreading to other cities like Boston and New York. A few days after we left Philadelphia, Paul Birdsong released a video.
All power to the people.
Birdsong's former mentor and a member of the original Black Panthers, Aaron Dixon, who had supported the use of the Black Panther name, withdrew his support for the group. As a result, the group renamed itself the Black Lion Party for International Solidarity, though its mission and activities remain unchanged.
All right, Doc, your thoughts on that?
I mean, muddled, contradictory, oftentimes indecipherable thinking. Are you Black nationalists? Are you internationalists? And if you're an internationalist, what exactly does that mean? What are you just, as I said before, and I know Christine Williams enjoyed this, are you just partaking in mental masturbation sessions where you sit around and it feels good while you're doing it? You can do it with other people if you want to, but from beginning to the end, there was never any intention to produce anything but wasted water. So it's troubling and problematic on probably 10,000 levels. And these are, and let's be very clear about this. These are what Marxists would refer to as the lumpen proletariat. These are the brothers off the block. The Panthers had to rely upon the brothers off the block because nobody else would join them. And I'm talking about Huey and Bobby. So the base were brothers off of the block, but eventually it becomes very clear that they don't possess the skills necessary to run an organization, such as the creation of curriculum, organization, getting things done. These brothers that we saw, and God bless them, what is their level of competency just in life? You get what I'm saying? You're talking about individuals who looked at the camera and said, "No, I do this 24/7."
Yeah.
As if that's a badge of honor. You're a person who has been, for whatever reason, found themselves ostracized, extricated from mainstream society. We have to have significant logical conversations about who can speak for us, number one. Also, the idea of what is the goal that we're trying to achieve? Because I've yet to come across an understanding of what your goal is. Now, to go out and say, well, we're internationalists and anywhere ICE shows up, well, okay. But by and large, what are you accomplishing? What are the tangible gains that you're seeking to accomplish? And on what time frame? The idea of a armed revolution, a Black-led armed revolution in America, reeks of Charles Manson's Helter Skelter. That's what Helter Skelter is about. You can't do it alone. And from what we just saw, you don't have a existing program, foundation, infrastructure to be able to get much of anything accomplished beyond cosplaying, carrying guns around and acting big and bad. If one thing is for sure, that when they decide that they're going to come to get you, if they feel that they need to come and get you, ain't gonna be no talking. That's number one. Ain't gonna be no talking. It's gonna be a lot of death and disaster.
Yeah.
And if you do survive, you'll be locked away somewhere for so long that there will not even be there won't be a release date. You are a part of, regardless of how hard we would like to resist it. You're part of America, and you inherit all of the stuff that America has done in the past. You know, your educational system, the way you look at the world, is coming from America, regardless of how much you try to deprogram yourself. So I didn't see a lot there that would make me say, yeah, that's the Panthers again. No, I don't see it. I don't see the program.
Mm-mm. One of the things that really stuck out to me, that they were undisciplined. Even how they were walking down the street, you know, with their weapons, they were not disciplined.
If you were to take those brothers and put them day one in FOI training, what's that look like?
Damn sure it don't look like that. And honestly speaking,
I'm just saying, what would the captains and the commanders in the FOI, what would be the things that they would say, just even on appearance, gait, those types of things?
I believe probably they would say, when the devil sees you, he can say that, yeah, we may have your body, but they still have your mind.
Yeah.
And you know, that just doesn't work. We have to be more disciplined than what they shown.
Remember I think they were Panthers, or they were some type of black armed group, some type of gun group, where they went out marching around and one of them shot themselves.
Yeah, AFC. Yeah, not fucking around crew.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, how you shoot yourself?
It just puts you. It takes me to that Black Panther Killmonger moment where Killmonger said, "This is your king." Now you expect for me to believe that's who's coming to save us?
Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Christina, she brought up a good point where she talked about, she says, the man on the train said he thought he was already liberated.
I just think that liberation is a sliding scale, and that's just really what it is. There's a way of living in life that one could be experiencing, that living in the projects is a step up.
Right.
There, it's relative. Hey, it's relative. You might have to very well tell some brothers, no, it ain't supposed to be like that.
Right.
But it's all relative, man. It's all relative. So I get it. I understand what he's saying.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. She says most non-white people think they are free, not realizing racism, white supremacy still exists. Mm-hmm. And I think that there has to be a better way of educating our people on that fact that is real, because it's like a lot of them don't even understand that is still an issue even to this very day. And definitely, I don't think that the Panthers or the Lions do a good job in educating our people that this is still a reality and show them how this is still a reality.
But it takes us all the way back to the question of what is your infrastructure?
Mm-hmm.
There's and I've talked about this in this space before, the idea of manufacturing consent. There's a reason why the graduates of Notre Dame come out of there pro-life.
Mm-hmm.
Their religion points them towards that, and everything that they read in that curriculum is going to point them towards that. Mm-hmm. And it's just what it is. So what is your curriculum? How do you install your worldview in your people? And the harsh reality of it as an educator, I can say this with authority. The harsh reality is you don't have the means to do that.
Right.
You don't even have you can't even call your local high school and say and request to have 30 minutes with the students, because they're going to say, who are you? What do you want? What are you going to say? And that's if it's a black principal. If it ain't a black principal, they're going to just hang up on you.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are their children. Those are their minds that they're going to be molding into the way that they want to mold them.
Mm-hmm.
And the overarching message that you're going to get from educational institutions has nothing to do with Black liberation. It has everything to do with learning to live and die in America.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you want a little prosperity? If you do, this is what you got to do. You got to go get this certificate or this degree. You can work for this company and you can work there for 30 years. Hopefully, you'll save your money and you'll be able to retire by 70. That is life.
Exactly. And it's like they bring the reporter in to do the little video and they talking all that and showing all, what if 100 ICE agents show up? Oh yeah, we'll deal with them. You'll be dead. Your organization will be dead. You're not thinking longevity. You're not thinking down that road
logically. This is one of the things that I wanted to be a fighter pilot for the U.S. Air Force. I had went and saw Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be Black Maverick, brother. Okay, that was my destiny. All I needed was an F-15 or F-14 to sit in, and I would be the man. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I got some. I used to study, read all the magazines and stuff. I had all the flight simulators and stuff about flying. That was my thing in high school. So I understand some of what the U.S. military can do.
Mm-hmm.
Being here in Texas, the Lone Star State, they always bannering and talking about, we should secede, leave the nation, this, and that. Now, I ask Texans for just this one concession. If y'all do decide to rebel against the U.S. government, let me know. Because I'm leaving. I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, do you really understand that they could shoot a missile from Austin, Texas, and they could say, I had 3 windows in my classroom. They can say, we want that one to go. We want this missile that's been fired over 100 miles away to go through the middle window at this angle, and they can do it.
Exactly.
So what we gonna do? We going out there with rocks and stuff, and when we see the missile coming, we gonna throw it off its trajectory. Somebody gonna jump up and ride it like we in a cartoon or something? No, you're attempting to go to battle with a nation that no other nation that has ever existed could stand the full brunt of its force.
Mm-hmm.
And that's saying what we know it can do. And we don't even really know what they can do. They might have a way of killing all right-handed people. And says, all we gonna do is the lefties are gonna be the ones that exist.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. And yet we supposed to believe that you walking around here talking tough. The fact that you got a cell phone on you should let you know that they can tell right where you at.
Exactly.
Get in one of them self-driving cars,
mm-hmm.
and see if they don't drive you. If that car don't drive your ass straight to Leavenworth.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna drive you straight to Building C. And they're gonna get you out of there and say, yeah, we got a cell for you, cell 19. That's where you're gonna be at.
Exactly.
So all of that is posturing and talk. And we've seen it before. The only and it's also one of the things that they rely on and pull on with the Panther legacy that Huey actually shed blood. He actually was involved in a lethal conflict with Officer John Fry, and also a second officer, Herbert Haynes, got shot during that conflict, which leads to Huey's incarceration, the Free Huey campaign, and what have you. How many brothers are in their group that are going to go ahead and, when the police pull them over, are going to step out and have the courage to begin firing?
Mm-hmm. That's a
Okay.
good question.
Yeah, I mean, Huey didn't even step out and begin firing. He was in a tussle, and the cop ended up dead. So there should be a re-examination in the new millennium of what it means to be a Black activist and how we win. I thought that it was ironic when they showed the building that they were in. The building had a name on it that kind of reminded me of like a nonprofit type of situation. So here you are talking about overthrowing the United States government, but your building has been paid for and is being run by government grants. The irony for that goes further for me, because the last thing that was standing of the original Black Panther Party was the community school, and that community school was actually run on government grants. So regardless of how we try to be anti-American and resist the system, there's a historical precedent there that in time you will fold. They can freeze you out if they want to. If they deny the grants. If they deny the grants, then what? Y'all done? Because according to bruh, ain't nobody working around here. I do this 24/7. I'm a soldier. Brother, what your kids eating? I'm a soldier, brother. What are you talking about? We can sit here and laugh about it, but the truth of the matter is that's a real issue that needs to be addressed.
Exactly, it is. It definitely is.
Yeah.
All right, we want to share our last video.
All power to the people. As everyone knows, I'm Paul Birdsong. I got a message from Aaron Dixon today saying that he no longer supports us. That after he gave me orders to make a video saying that him and other members were coming, that he withdrew his support. And that he said that this situation is unimportant to him, even though my comrades have risked their lives and spent thousands of hours of their time and dollars in life standing behind a cause. He said he's going to make a statement saying no one has the right to call himself a Black Panther going forward. I told him to make sure that he put in that statement that he did in fact give us the right to call ourselves that, because I still have the messages where he did, just in case he doesn't. And I put in there also, make sure that you put in there that Emory Douglas did give us the right to wear that emblem, because I still have the messages where that happened too. But as it stands, because of that, because of me and my comrades risking our lives and all the heat that we went under, because of the counter-revolutionary practices, because we don't believe in Black nationalism, like Bobby Seale said in the video that I shared on my page earlier, that Black nationalism is acquiesced to racism, and that we don't stand like that we're internationalists and intercommunalists, just like Huey Newton said. We will no longer identify with this flag. We will no longer identify ourselves as the Black Panther Party for self-defense. We're going to take OG from the town's advice. We're going to take the name that he decided to put out there. We're going to call ourselves the Black Lion Party for International Solidarity. Reason for the international solidarity is because we will stand with the immigrants. We will stand with the people being terrorized for ICE. We will stand with any oppressed people across the world. We will keep feeding every single day, keep offering food every single day.
We will keep patrolling the community with guns. We will keep stopping drug dealers, keep stopping sex traffickers. We will keep stopping police brutality. This little plaque that I got, it says Paul Birdsong, and as a Panther says since 2020. I don't regret the work that I've done because it's brought me to this point. But going forward, these Panther patches will no longer be on my uniform. Me and my comrades stand independent. We're willing to work with any organization that stands for the rights of every living person. Any organization that stands against imperialism, attacking immigrants. Now, if you're out here raping people and killing people and selling drugs and different stuff like that, yeah, deport them. But those people out there that are just working hard, trying to provide for their families, trying to escape the guerrilla warfare and the cartel warfare that's happening in their countries, to come for that promise of the American dream that the United States of America Incorporated lies about, we feel that they shouldn't be bothered, and we're willing to stand beside them to ensure that they're not. All power to the people. All power to the people. Oh, January 31st, you can still come out. You know, we're willing to sit down and talk about solidarity, sit down and talk about unification, sit down and talk about continuing to work, because ain't nothing stopping this way. All power to the people. All power to the people.
Now, would it be crazy if I said that COINTELPRO striked again? See, this is exactly what they want. They want for groups.
All right, and I want to show this other quick video really quick.
Their voices are getting louder.
Milwaukee is suffering. Black and brown people in Milwaukee are suffering. That time is done. That time is done.
They're called the original Black Panthers of Milwaukee. They're vocal at common council meetings, pushing for African-American rights.
When I say by any means necessary, if it's economic boycotting, if it's recalling, we'll do all of that. I mean, the insurrection has already started.
Here you see the armored vehicle has just moved in.
The fighting and the fires in Sherman Park last summer sparked the Panthers' resurgence to the spotlight.
Peaceful protesting, marching, singing, "We shall overcome," those times are over. They worked in the past, but we need to change the dynamics now where we have to force the issue.
The man in charge is Daryl Farmer, but he prefers the name King Rick. He shared his message with us inside of one of the Panther offices.
This is the most segregated city in the United States. Our educational system sucks. And when you have all of these negative things going on in the community, it breeds chaos, it breeds mayhem, it breeds carnage.
The Panther protests have been peaceful.
But you said sometimes violence is necessary?
America was built on violence, wasn't it?
Does it need to be continued to be built up by violence?
I think what needs to be done is the powers that be, the politicians, the lawmakers, need to change the dynamic so it doesn't happen again.
But there's an interesting twist to this story. There is competition from another group called the Revolutionary Black Panther Party. Their members march with guns, armed with nationwide membership. Meantime, the original Panthers are only in Milwaukee. The two groups got into a shouting match at MPS headquarters last month.
They have their agenda and we have our agenda. And as long as it's for the betterment of the community, it is what it is. We won't say anything negative against anyone Black in our community if they're not a detriment.
Our military mission is to feed, clothe, shelter, train, and defend our people.
Dr. Ali Muhammad is the Revolutionary Black Panther leader. He likes any group pushing for racial equality, but would not call King Rick or his local group equal in the Panther community.
Is he a true Black Panther?
He's a modern day Black Panther, but he has no connection. So he's not a true Black Panther at all. He's not. He's not a true Black Panther.
In the 90s, King Rick was a bodyguard to the controversial Milwaukee alderman and fellow Black Panther, Michael McGee Sr. And he's a man who knows struggle. Back in 2006, he was busted for cocaine possession. He called it a mistake. He did his time and claims he's now committed to being a force for good. He gave out turkeys at Thanksgiving and presents at Kwanzaa. He's a retired French teacher who is particularly motivated to help young men.
We want to direct your anger. We want to direct your displeasure in the right direction. And that comes with education. That comes with jobs. That comes with love.
Since we talked to both Black Panther groups, the two leaders recorded this Facebook Live video to say that they are going to work together. Take a listen.
I want to reach out to this Black man, say I love you, I respect you. If you need us, we got your back.
Both King Rick and Dr. Ali Muhammad both say that their groups need to unite to achieve their goals. Ben Wagner, WISN 12 News.
Oh.
All right. Thoughts, Doc?
No. You know, there comes a moment where you're just speechless. You know, it's, to use Malcolm's great quote, it was a circus with clowns and all. Come on. You know, years ago, I was involved. I did this community oral project, right? And so I had to go down to Houston and interview this brother who was one of the main players in the MLK Day Parade in Houston. It's one of the major things that happens here. They have an MLK Day Parade. Well, he ends up having a falling out with the brother he co-founded it with. Okay. So now Houston has two MLK Day parades titled under the Day of Unity. They walk two different paths, but they wind up in the same park. He's like, brother, I would like for you. I'm like, man, no, hell no. I'm not riding on no float in no divided Black community unity parade. I'm not going to do it. There's something wrong here. And there's something wrong. Here you got a cocaine dealing French teacher who, loudmouth, just show up and talk crazy. If you know that the educational system is subpar, go ahead and make a definitive move to create that. That's what we did. Remember, we had the Saturday school.
Exactly.
And we had a Saturday school for probably about 9 months, and the most students that we had ever show up that were not directly related to us was 3. And ironically, we was at the Saturday school when the Martin Luther King Day Parade walked by. And they was like, yo, what y'all doing? It was like, yo, we got Saturday school. Oh, okay, that's what's up. Didn't nobody ever come. And so in many ways, you're talking about the need for a self-evaluation and a re-evaluation of everything. What are your priorities? And I mean, let's be honest about what the priority. Talk about your priorities in the way that you think about them when you're alone. Not in public, because in public people, oh yeah, brother, I'm all for it, and but you don't show up for nothing.
Right.
You don't, all of that mental masturbation talk, it don't add up to nothing. And it's one of the reasons why after a while, those who worked and those who believe, they separate themselves and begin to look at y'all like y'all deserve to be looked at, But it's come on, man. They should be embarrassed to be out there acting the way that they're acting, talking about whatever it is they're talking about. And this is one of the eternal questions that falls in the same vein of, if a tree falls in the woods and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound? This is a similar question. Do the truly ignorant know that they're ignorant? If nobody that knows is around to even look at them and like, do they really know? And by the looks of things, by what we've seen, the answer to that is no, they don't know. That they're just out here doing what it is, just saying any old thing. You don't understand anything about structure, organization. You don't know anything about nation building. All you know is that black people catching hell, and this shit got to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. Come on. I'm a nationalist. And I look at y'all like, what in the hell are we doing? So I can only imagine what non-nationalist black folk look at y'all like. Lord only knows what the Asian community look at y'all like. This is shameful. We need to bring back shame. We need to bring back shame. This is just what it is. Let's bring back shame.
Exactly. Wow. You know, one thing that I look at this situation, and you know, you should never let them come inside your organization with their little video camera and start talking and you giving up information that is going to be used against you. That just doesn't make sense. But it's like they're chasing fame.
Yes.
They're chasing fame and talking that talk and trying to walk that walk. You're not going to get it. It's not going.
Dr. John Henry Clark said that what we have now are Hollywood revolutions, light, camera, and action. Nobody is really, well, the majority of people that we know about are not working in non-publicizable ways. Who's arranging the food pantry? Who's making sure that our elderly are taken care of? Here in Houston, when I give it about 2 weeks. In about 2 weeks, it's going to be 152 degrees here. Okay, who's going to check on the elderly to make sure that they're okay, that they have what they need? That's not glamorous, but it's life-saving and life-changing.
Exactly.
You know, and to make matters worse, it's sort of like this thing that we see every election. These people have told you what you're gonna need to vote. What type of identification? Why do we wait till 3 days before to say, oh, they're trying to disenfranchise? Make sure your people get what they need to be able to vote. Be proactive. But we don't have structure. We don't have the organizations that are doing things in serving the people, apparently.
Exactly. Doc, we're going to move to closing comments. Let's get your closing comments on these groups that we talked about tonight, the Black Panther Party. And also, can you add in your comments, if Huey Newton was alive, what do you think he would have said to all the Panthers? And also give your thinking on this our war on Iran that we find ourselves in right now.
That's your president. You was the one that oh no, we can't go with Kamala. Ain't what's gonna happen? You better go with Trump. At least you know what you see what you got. But as always, man, I enjoy being here, man, and have a great time. But as far as what would I say about these Panther groups, the Panther legacy is what the Panther legacy is. We need to go ahead and move past the Panther legacy. Add your own twist to Black activism. The Panthers were not the first organization that was created. They're not the first revolutionary organization that was created. They're not the first internationalist, communist, socialist, whatever you want to say. So what we need is your contribution. What are you going to do? And if you're going to borrow anything from the Panthers, borrow their ability to service the community in multiple ways. Their institutions. It's the Panthers that led the drive for sickle cell anemia testing because they knew it affected their community more than other communities. Let that be your legacy. Now, what would Huey say? I'm taking it that you're talking about Huey that was sober, And,
yes.
Okay, because there's another Huey that we
Mhm.
can talk about. I think that Huey would applaud the effort to be internationalist, to escape the stifling confines of blackness, of being a black organization. But I think that at the exact same time, Huey would take them to task and say, look at your presentation. Look at what it is that you're doing. You're offending people. You're turning people off. If you go back and you read Huey's book, Revolutionary Suicide, where Huey is going to talk about the idea of almost giving up on being an activist because he was a part of a campus group, and the name escapes me right now. The group, the Afro American Association, that was the name of the group, and the leader of it talked harshly to Huey. Huey didn't know much. Huey was just finding his way, and he said that harmed me and led me, into not wanting to do this type of work. Thank God he recovered from that and wanted to do that type of work. I'll end because I'm looking at Christine Williams's comment. Huey, when we're talking about liberation, Huey talks about this. And if you watch Spike Lee's A Huey P. Newton story, the one-man stage play that Roger Gunnever Smith does, that he does an amazing job on. I went to see it for like the 3 nights it was at Ohio State. But Huey talks about how the people freed him because they were trying to put Huey in the gas chamber. He said, the power of the people freed me. But when I got free, they wanted me to free them. And his message and his meaning was quite simply, if you were able to free me and prevent me from being executed with Ronald Reagan as the governor, there's nothing that you can't do. Free yourself. Free yourself. Build the community up. And I think that that's probably the most important message. And I'll end with this. Stop being silly-minded. And I'm directing that at Birdsong. Because quite simply, just because a figure like Aaron Dixon said that he's no longer endorsing you to be a pen, who the fuck cares?
Exactly.
Who the fuck cares? That reminded me of how people will go online and talk about what they had for breakfast. I don't give a fuck what you had for breakfast. Get away from the camera, sit down and do some solid thinking about what it is that you're going to do as a contribution to the nation, the community, to Black America. Anything else doesn't even matter. Okay? Stop being silly-minded. Stop being a mental masturbator, and go ahead and decide what you're going to do and make it happen. And I yield, brother.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Doc. Definitely, for sure. I hope everybody really understands the message that we shared today and learn from it. Definitely learn from it, even when we're looking at this war that's currently taking place in the Middle East. And make sure you get your gas, because gas will be going up in a few days. I hear it was at $73 a barrel now. I'm quite sure by tomorrow it will be over $100 a barrel. So, everything is a learning lesson. Everything is a learning lesson. And we must be mindful to take a proper look and then make the proper decisions of how we're going to move, how we're going to operate. We're in Ramadan right now, where the Muslim world is supposed to be fasting and praying. And they're at war. And one country is bombing the other country because they have let go of the rope of Allah and traded in the unity of the brotherhood for the alliances of the Western powers. And they mean you no good. And so we have to be wise, but keep watching and seeing what your disunity will bring you. If you remain disunited, then whatever enemy you faces will destroy you even quicker, because that's the quickest way to destruction. You turning and fighting it on your own. You're eating your own. It makes the whole lot work easier for your enemy. So wise up to what you see and make the proper decisions. There's no time for being the joke and the funny man. It's time for us to make serious decisions about what our future going to look like. What our future going to look like. You know, Doc, these millennials and all of this crazy crap, however you want to label them, I don't think they're able to run the country. I really don't. What in the hell is going to happen if these idiots start running the country?
Well, I can tell you what's going to happen. AI. Any problem that rises up, that's what they run into, because they do not possess the ability to think. They have allowed technology to, in many ways, short circuit their minds and to guide them, because for far too long, people's primary objective has been, how do I get this accomplished with the least effort? Well, you can do that now. Okay. But at the end of the day, you're going to have no skills, no way to think. One of my very good friends, he told me about an interview he did maybe 2 years ago with a young man. He said, I'm talking to him. I'm on one side of the desk, he on the other side of the desk, and he never really looks up. So I'm trying to figure out, does he have social anxiety or something like that? He said, I literally stood up to see what he was looking down at. He was looking at his phone. And every question that I was asking of him, he was typing it into some type of AI thing that was spitting out an answer, and then he would read the answer back to me. We are past the tipping point. We've allowed our community, and I just deal with Black America, we've allowed our community to have our children's minds and ability to think, to pay attention, to be hijacked and short-circuited to the point where now their attention span is approximately 12 seconds.
Wow.
And how do we get back from that? There is no return back. You'll never, it's over. You'll never be able to go back to the way it used to be. And it's not a question of too much information. It's a question of irrelevant, titillating information, where they'll sit up and they will just be entertained all day long. We're going to get to a point in this society in our lifetime where they're going to be issuing monthly government checks to people because they can't take care of themselves.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're closing out this program for tonight. We thank everybody for watching. We ask everybody to like, share, and subscribe. Please share so we can get the video out and people go ahead and start seeing exactly what these conversations are about. We thank everybody who came and joined with us to watch and participate in the program, and we'll have more programs coming. And as we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first, today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
Peace.
So you better get the message and get it straight. You're going to need some bridge work. It's simple as that. Because we're living in judgment. We're living in implementation.